Donald Trump's former butler is now being investigated by the Secret Service. Anthony Senecal, who worked at Trump's estate in Palm Beach, Florida, is coming under scrutiny for several violent and racist postings he made on his Facebook page. They suggest President Obama should be hanged for treason. The Trump campaign is condemning what it calls horrible remarks and says the 74-year-old Senecal has not worked for Trump in 7 years. So let's explore all this with Ed O'Keefe, a political reporter for the Washington Post. Ed, good morning.
Great to see you guys.
So start off with this joke that's gone awry, the 1991 recordings from John Miller. What do you make of all of this? Do you think it'll affect Donald?
No, because frankly, his supporters will just see it as, Donald being Donald, and those that don't like him to begin with will just see it as Donald being Donald, frankly. And there's just no reason to believe necessarily that it's not him. Look, he didn't break any laws. He didn't, commit any fraud. He was just sort of touting himself under a different name, ironically, the name of a well-known, police official, former reporter at this network, and then a guy that now is the name of his son. I mean, this is just the way he is and the way he always was.
There was at least the beginnings of an attempt to unite the Republican Party this week, notably with the meeting with House Speaker Paul Ryan. How do you think that went?
He won over certain senior lawmakers, guys like Orrin Hatch, maybe John Cornyn, people like that, people that will be important for him to sort of help out and be there to help him as he campaigns, but still hasn't won over Paul Ryan. And I think that one's going to take a little while longer.
How important do you think that is for him?
Oh, it's critical, absolutely. I mean, in talking to rank and file Republicans this week, they know about it. They realize that he's not with them, and they say, look, at this point in any presidential campaign, you would think you'd have the Speaker of the House, if he's of your party, with you. If he's still working on that, it shows that he's got a lot of work ahead of him. But when you've been the ideas guy, when you've been the one calling for limited government, lower taxes, strong national security, and your presidential nominee is anything but right now, why would you necessarily jump on it? He probably will at some point. He's going to face a lot of pressure to do so, but it's going to take him some time.
This week you wrote such an interesting article about how Trump has affected people saying, I need to get documented, I need to be a citizen, I need to go to the office and get the proper paperwork.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Well, these are legal residents who've been here for decades in many cases, literally getting off the couch and realizing if we're going to have a Republican presidential nominee who's talking this way about immigrants and about refugees, I've got to go do something. And the way I can do that is become a citizen and go vote. There's a lot of different groups across the country trying to register millions of new voters potentially across the country. If this happens, they're mostly Hispanic. They're likely to vote for Democrats. It could make a big difference in places like Arizona, Colorado, Nevada. Republicans see that. Republicans that don't like Trump, they've been warning about this, and they say, this is exactly what we've been worried about, that if you nominate someone who goes out there and disparages immigrants, they'll all vote for the other guy, and we'll end up losing. And not only will we lose, you could see governors, congressmen, senators, even city council guys lose their seats because they're associated with them.
I think a lot of people thought at this point the Democratic race would be over. It still continues. How much damage do you think for Hillary is there in continuing to have to battle Bernie Sanders right up at the convention?
Well, wouldn't she love to be focused on John Miller or John Barron, whatever you want to call him this morning? Wouldn't she rather be spending, millions of dollars attacking him?
Yeah.
But she has to go out this week and ad money in Kentucky because they've got an upcoming primary.
Yeah.
She's going to have to go and campaign hard in California because Bernie Sanders is ready to spend tens of millions of dollars there. It's a prolonged contest that she didn't anticipate, but they realize that he has the right to do it. But the longer it goes on, the harder it is for her to pivot and start driving home the message that Trump isn't someone that should be elected president.
All right, Ed O'Keefe, thanks so much for being with us.